which scientists can put instruments. The budget zeroes that out, and it zeroes out funding for SOFIA, the airborne telescope, and so forth. Now, we got a couple of minutes. I thought I'd tell you about the fact that the decisions made on what to do, what to focus on, are made by humans. And humans have their foibles. So I have, if you're willing to stick around for a couple of minutes after 11:30, I'll go through this slide. So the first thing NASA does, and in collaboration with the National Science Foundation, they do what are called decadal surveys. Every 10 years, they have a group of experts, like X-ray astronomers or gravitational physicists or whatever. Each gathers a team and they create a plan for the next 10 years of research. And what should be emphasized and what can be delayed. Sometimes the delay is because the science is not that good, or it could be delayed because technology cannot support the science that people would like to do. We have to wait for the technology to advance. So for a while, I was involved in this business as a advisor. And this is one of the reports I contributed to. These are done by the National Academy of Sciences or the National Academy of Engineering. And there are anecdotes, which I thought I'd share with you. So first, I was a presenter at the National Academy of Sciences, and I was the first person to speak after lunch. And I was supposed to talk about work that my group had done on deciding whether this approach or this approach was the right approach to do a certain kind of science. And before I started, one of the guys said, "You're going to have to limit how long you talk because I have to catch a plane this afternoon." So I said, okay, and I compressed my talk, and I was the last speaker, so we disbanded for the day. The National Academy of Sciences is in Washington, D.C., next to George Washington University. So I was walking back to my car, past the arena at the university, and I noticed professional tennis tournament is on today. And at the time, I was a very avid fan and player, so I called my office, not on a cell phone, because this was decades ago, and I said, "I'm going to play hooky." I bought a ticket for the tennis tournament. It was like a Thursday afternoon. And I went into the arena, the Smith Center at the university, the George Washington University, and the players were there warming up for a match. And I sat down, and then I noticed the guy who said, "Airplane this afternoon," he's sitting right there. So I went over, I sat down behind him, and I said, "Aren't you afraid you're going to miss your flight?" He said, "I didn't say what time the plane was." It turned out one of his former students was in the tournament. So, I mean, there are humans involved. Oh yeah, then I had experience with a guy, a famous guy. He's actually won a MacArthur Genius Award. In all my interaction with him, he did not hear anything I said. I would say, "Why don't we do this?" He just completely ignored me. It was kind of troubling. So time goes by, 6 or 7 months. We were on a study team together, and he just ignored me. So 6 or 7 months go by, and I got invited to participate in this, where you have speakers come in to defend a piece of science or technology, and the judges are sitting like you guys are sitting now, around, and he walked in to stand here, and I was sitting right there. And we might have actually done introductions. And he was getting introduced. He knew most of the people, and then he saw me, and you could see that thing cross his face like, I should have been nicer to that guy. So another evidence of humanity in the process. And then this one I particularly like. There's a guy, Charlie Pellerin, who used to run astrophysics for NASA. He now lives in Boulder. At the end of the Reagan administration, so that would have been 87, 88, somewhere in there, all the money needed to launch Hubble had been committed. So Hubble was still under construction and they were ready to launch. No more money was needed, and the X-ray astronomy community was hounding Charlie Pellerin, "When are we going to get some money for an X-ray observatory?" You got the Hubble, which does not do X-rays, it does visible and ultraviolet, and you got plans for infrared and other things, but I don't see any, where's the X-ray stuff? And they convinced him, yeah, you're right, we've been ignoring you guys. So he, at the time, he was at an acquaintance with Reagan's chief of staff and said, is there any chance I could come in, we're near the end of the fiscal year, if we could do something, we could put a little money, we could start something for x-rays. And the guy said, I can get you 5 minutes with the president. And the president, what can you do in 5 minutes? So Pellerin drew, I'm now going to draw a piece of paper. Drew this piece of paper. He said, here's a picture of the x-ray facility that's flying. I mean, it was the size of half of an automobile. And this is a picture of the one that the Soviets are flying for x-ray astronomy. And this is what we want to build. And Reagan said to his chief of staff, go to Capitol Hill and make it happen. And this became what is called Chandra, which is still a highly productive x-ray observatory. And it just took one sheet of paper. Let's see, if there's anything else I want to say to you guys other than threats. So this is a link, if you want to follow it. There's an article here from Forbes magazine about the devastation that will occur if the current astrophysics budget gets approved. So that's all for today. Thanks for staying a little bit late.
Thank you.
And happy to answer questions.
So where's the money going to be going instead of, is there any particular?
Well, there's the border wall.
Are you going to be here? Yeah, I get back to you today.
There's the military.
Looked at the weather.
I mean, astronomy benefits from investment in military technology, like I said, the synthetic guide stars and all that. It just takes 20 years for it to happen. So there's plenty of stuff to spend money on,
Oh, are you not here next week?
but
Yeah.
astronomy is a target
Oh, yeah.
to reduce.
And you can push back.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying, you'll see, if I don't make it to Wednesday class,
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, may or may not make Thursday class. Well, but no, I don't make it.
So you're talking about something, now you're probably talking about the Eagle
Because I
Nebula,
showed her where the box
which
was.
is a famous picture. I
Unfortunately,
apologize, we have to back up.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I gotta get the cheat too.
So that's
I
a
saw Bob
collection
telling you
of
something.
gas
Yeah,
and
that was
dust.
it.
Can you make sure she gets my card?
I apologize, it's taking. So this is a cloud of gas and dust that is, and this right here, these are new stars from this regime. And it's an area of a galaxy that has the right ingredients to be drawn in gravitationally to where they condense and blink, you get a star.
So this is zillions of miles away.
Oh,
I mean, apart. And
yeah, this scale across here is probably hundreds of light years or thousands of light years.
and that's the
So the one to look for, I don't have it in this slide package, is the Eagle Nebula.
it's the most
Very,
famous.
very famous. Right. It's a piece, a tiny piece of a galaxy. So a galaxy is 200,000 light years across.
Okay.
There are regions in there, particularly younger galaxies, where stars are being born. So you might be talking about an area this big on a thing this big. So this is 200,000 light years. This area is maybe a couple hundred light years. But this is measured on a scale of like hundreds of light years or more.
Well, Sally wants to
But
be
the
a
gravity just keeps drawing this stuff
she's
together.
like, okay, what do I do?
It's an ongoing process, and then these stars occasionally will explode, throws their guts out.
Yeah.
It gets dispersed, and a billion years later, that stuff is, you can't avoid gravity. It's very weak, but it's persistent.
When Hubble quits working,
We will not have an optical telescope as productive as Hubble in space. Now, one of the arguments for, well, there are a couple of really important factors in Hubble. The only way to keep Hubble going is to send astronauts and repair it. We do not have
Just because,
Absolutely.
a
that's what I
way to
heard.
do that. We don't have a space shuttle.
Class assistant for the really popular ones,
was dangerous and it was very
Exactly.
expensive. And so
Then
we
you have-
don't have a way to do that. So you could build another optical telescope.
You
And here's what they call
You
it.
can't put it in at the same time, I mean,
No,
sort of.
I do a different one. I mean, I did different ones last time.
Okay.
You know, I did the, Van Gogh, I did, short stories, which was great.
Okay. But, what if you both wanna get in one, do they say like,
Means,
No,
it's just when you
ultraviolet,
put it in?
optical,
and, like, he got in,
and infrared. So people
Oh,
are
no,
talking
I didn't
about
get
a
in.
replacement
I just went
terminal,
anyway.
much bigger, that
It's
would
like
be in
Peter,
low Earth orbit,
Peter Press, the guy.
and it would be able to do the same wavelengths that Hubble is doing now.
Why is it dangerous for Hubble? For the astronaut?
Well, the space shuttle was dangerous. We had 2 accidents, and it's incredibly expensive. And the reason you need astronauts on something that looks like an airplane is you gotta take equipment with you. If you put them in a capsule that looks like the Apollo capsule or whatever, there's room for astronauts. There's no room for machinery or tools or,
When I think of the space station, is the size of a football field. I can't imagine how much stuff has been carried up there.
oh, yeah, and we have now commercial suppliers, like SpaceX
Yes.
and others, taking stuff up on a regular basis. It's like, go out and ride the bus, it's a regular, everyday thing. Space station is in the wrong orbit too, and, there's 100 reasons why it will be hard to build another something like Hubble. It's probably worth trying. You just have to have the political will.
You have a Johns Hopkins attachment, am I correct?
I don't.
Did? Oh, I thought you did.
No. Why?
Because, one of my dinner mates at a fundraiser was saying, I'm Greek, and he's the Greek space guy at Johns Hopkins.
Oh. Cornelius?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
he was
know.
my dinner
Yeah,
partner.
he just retired. Did he just retire, I think? Stefanos
Yeah,
Cornelius?
yeah.
Yeah, he was a very high-level executive at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, which is their space and technology wing. It's not on the campus of the university. It has its own campus, and they build instruments, spacecraft. They're a really influential facility, and he was near the top of that.
Well,
Is he here in the local?
No, I was at a special Make-A-Wish
Yeah.
banquet in DC.
Right.
And he ends up being my dinner, and I.
Did you know him from before that?
Well, no, I didn't, but I mean, he keeps wanting to be my Facebook partner, and I haven't.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, he's a world-famous guy.
yes, he is,
Yeah.
yes, he is. Hey, great talking to you. Thanks,
You're terrific.
thanks for coming to class.
You make something perfect. I'm sorry I can't be here again, but I have
The videos, you're on the list.
Okay. Yeah, how do I get back to that video? I can't find it. You sent it out, didn't you? Did you? Was
I
it-
sent, there's a link in the first lecture on how to get to the videos that I put on YouTube.
Okay, that's what I like.
If you have trouble, get in touch with Darcy or Pam, or somebody that you maybe already know.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks. Okay. We're done for today. Whoops.